The story kicks off in the year 594 of the Holy Calendar at the prestigious Kandria Arcanist Academy. Standing before the massive fortress, our hero is totally amazed, since this is the top school for sorcery in the entire empire. This is Lewis Carroll, a 13-year-old kid who notices the huge crowd of people trying to get a spot at the institution. A moment later, a familiar voice calls out to him, making the young man turn to look through the swarm of people. It was his parents who hurry over and give him a hard time for rushing off and leaving them in the dust. Right away, his worried mom asks if he grabbed his ID and the dye for his hair. She seems scared because she heard that certain candidates get picked on because of their eye and hair color. Hearing this, the boy's father tries to calm Lucilla down, saying that magic is the only way out of their predicament. He explains that in the Northern Empire, this is the only academy where commoners can even take the entrance exam. Because of that, the Kandria Arcanist Academy becomes the biggest hope for our MC's future. As one of the 10 great institutions, this elite academy was founded by the royal family itself. In that place, the greatest arcanist masters in the empire teach students the arts of sorcery. On top of that, other types of power are also mastered by the students who practice there. Over the last 10 years, several guardians from commoner backgrounds have risen up to protect the empire. Because of this, the academy became famous, since most of those heroes graduated from there. Lewis Carroll's father then smiles and says that this is the perfect place for his son to finally master magic. Right after, Lucilla agrees with her husband while our hero declares he's going to become a great master. With a determined look on his face, he reveals that he's going to get stronger so he can take over the church's orphanage. Hearing her son's declaration, the woman is left completely speechless, not knowing how to react. Julian calms his wife, who thinks she's a terrible mother, but he comforts her, saying she already does more than enough. Our MC then thanks his mom and reveals that he's only still alive thanks to her care. From there, he remembers his past life, where he dreamed of being the greatest fighter but suffered from severe asthma. Even stuck with a respirator and in a wheelchair, the guy never gave up his passion for martial arts. That passion paid off, and he became a scholar who helped bring back martial arts with his thesis. However, a crooked scholar stole his work and then framed him, claiming was the real plagiarist. Basically, the guy used his illness to argue that a sick person wasn't worthy of any glory. In the end, even his own parents gave up on him and left him for dead by removing his respirator. In his final moments, he wished to live longer and have a healthy body with a family that loved him. And his wish came true in the year 90 of the Holy Calendar, in the city of Mantia in the Northern Empire. Back then, someone asked Lucilla if she would really take in that child because of his hair. At that moment, the baby wondered where he was, since he should have already passed on, while another nun worried. But Lucilla says the child is pure and adopts him, giving him the name Lewis Carroll. Back in the present, our MC reflects happily, because now he has a healthy body and a loving family. Suddenly, an arrogant noble shows up, shoving his mother and yelling at her to get out of the way. The push sends Lucilla to the ground, and immediately her son and husband rush to help her up. The guy mocks Lewis Carroll's dream, saying it's impossible for a commoner to become a grandmaster. Hearing this, Lewis gets furious and glares at the noble with a look of pure rage. The noble, disgusted, complains that he touched a commoner and hopes his luck doesn't run out. Our MC is consumed by anger and gets ready to go after the guys. However, his father stops him by the arm and reminds him to focus on the exam that's about to start. Lewis tries to argue, but his father's grip is firm, blocking him from moving forward. His mother also warns him and begs him to calm down, since he promised not to cause any trouble. Hearing his parents' plea, he calms down, even though he's reluctant. With that, he apologizes to Lucilla, who soothes him with a gentle pat on his head. The nobles walk away, treating the situation like a buzzkill, and head off to get their numbers. Just then, the crowd parts for a notable young man who arrives on the scene, drawing everyone's attention. This is Cain Aranka, the heir to the influential Aranka family, who shines like a true noble. Lewis Carroll glares with hatred at the nobles who bothered him, and swears they'll have to deal with him later. Right after, he turns to his worried mother and assures her that he's going to do great and pass the test. From a distance, Cain overhears Lewis's declaration as he shouts that he's going to become a grandmaster. With that, he says he'll master magic and prove his worth, while the nobles just laugh at him. He then heads off to the evaluation, determined, because in this life, he swears he'll become the most powerful of all. All of this just so he can protect what's most precious to him, his new, beloved family. His parents watch him with concern, since out of 20,000 applicants, only about 30 get accepted. But Julian mentions that his adopted son is the most stubborn person he's ever met. And when Lewis decides to do something, he just goes for it, and their job is to support him. Our MC enters the exam hall and immediately notices that everyone there is older than him. Suddenly, a man descends from the sky, announcing the start of the 160th admission exam. He introduces himself as Aronian Smith, the influential headmaster of the academy and also the test proctor. The crowd is stunned by the Grandmaster's presence, while Lewis thinks about the 6 power levels in the world. The power levels are divided into Apprentice, Fighter Master, Grandmaster, Sage, and finally Saint. Our MC realizes that the headmaster belongs to the 3rd highest class, the world's elite. Aronian then points to a staircase and declares that the first challenge is to climb it. The headmaster reveals that the credentials for the exam are located right behind the upperclassmen guarding the path. He explains that there are 1,000 credentials in total, and only those who get one can continue in the exam. One of the upperclassmen then warns that once the credentials run out, the test will be over for everyone. With a shout of, "Begin!" the mass of candidates makes a desperate dash for the staircase. A few eager guys sprint ahead, shouting that they'll be the first ones, and that the test is a piece of cake. At the top of the stairs, an upperclassman grins sinisterly and welcomes the examinees. Then, he unleashes a terrifying red aura and bellows, "Welcome to heck!" A wave of power distorts the air and slams right into the group that was rushing ahead. The candidates who thought they were so tough are caught completely off guard and are terrified by the attack. A moment later, several of them are sent flying as their elimination numbers are announced. The other candidates are in total shock and recognize the upperclassman as Lord Sheath, the minister's son. Meanwhile, Lewis Carroll calmly analyzes everything and senses the pure killing intent coming from the attack. The candidates are completely confused and wonder if that was actually an attack. Our MC walks forward serenely and clarifies that it wasn't a real physical attack. Seeing the boys' calmness, Lord Sheath takes a step forward with a look of disdain. The noble mentions that anyone with a weak will who is present would have surely passed out from fear because of his powerful aura. Sheath is surprised and declares that Louis Carroll seems to have some nerve to still be standing. However, he adds that there are many talented people there and no room for a commoner. Unfazed, our MC continues to stare down the upperclassman with a challenging look. Faced with that attitude, the noble decides he's going to teach the kid a lesson. From there, he focuses his power and unleashes a direct attack to force the boy to his knees. The other candidates feel the crushing pressure and yell that they can't breathe anymore. While everyone else collapses to the ground, Louis Carroll remains standing unaffected by the aura. He then asks if this is all of Sheath's killing intent, saying it only scares regular folks. At that moment, Louis remembers the terrible situations he's already faced in the past. For someone trained like him, that pressure was nothing more than child's play. With that in mind, he remembers that he's faced real monsters, so Sheath's pressure is harmless. With a cold, focused gaze, our MC gets ready to counter the upperclassman's move. Unlike Lewis, the wannabe tough guy noble seems to have never faced real danger in his life. Our MC gives a smug grin, letting him know that little intimidation tactic won't work on him. He then charges forward with astonishing speed, breaking through the upperclassman's energy barrier. Lewis moves like a flash of lightning, passing through Sheath's aura as if it were nothing. With a face full of fury, he prepares to show these nobles what real power is. He then shouts that he'll show them what a true killing intent feels like. A powerful blue aura erupts from his fist. The other candidates are completely stunned by the display of power. Sheath is paralyzed with fear, feeling the crushing pressure coming from a mere commoner. Louis's fist stops inches from the upperclassman's face, who can't even react. Right after, our MC stopped his punch, making a strong impression. With a cold stare, Louis looks down at the upperclassman on the floor, showing his superiority in combat. Sheath panics, unable to believe what he just witnessed. The other nobles are dumbfounded because they can't believe the kid withstood the impact without using magic. Not caring about the confusion, our MC simply walks past the fallen upperclassman, saying he's moving on. From there, he easily reaches the board where the credentials for the next phase of the exam are. With that, his hand reaches for a credential, securing his spot in the next stage of the selection. Seeing this, Sheath gets back up, absolutely furious, and roars with anger for being humiliated. He refuses to accept defeat and unleashes a powerful magic attack at the boy's back. Louis Carroll spins around instantly and prepares to defend himself from the blow using only his bare hands. The attack hits his arms, but our MC manages to block the magic, creating a shockwave. Sheath is in disbelief, unable to accept that a commoner stopped his attack without magic. Headmaster Aronian appears and informs them that the boy passed the test, but Sheath complains that he's a commoner. Aronian then clarifies that the academy treats everyone equally because when facing monsters, there's no distinction. After that lesson, Sheath falls silent, and our MC thanks the headmaster for stepping in. Right after, Aronian congratulates Louis Carroll for passing the first stage of the exam, but the headmaster notices the boy's hair and comments that its color is a bit concerning. Aronian's apprehension leaves a sense of suspense in the air about our MC's future. Our MC asks what the headmaster meant about the color of his hair. Suddenly, Aronian's hand touches the boy's shoulder, catching him by surprise. He then says that if Lewis is admitted, he'll prepare a potion to hide his unique features. Lewis Carrill is wary of the plan but decides to focus on passing the second test first. With that, he moves on to the next phase of the exam, leaving the nobles behind. Meanwhile, one of the upperclassmen watches him, with a look full of anger and contempt. The guy is furious that Aronian helped a commoner and swears he'll never forget that name. A moment later, everyone gathers in the second arena, where the next exam will begin. Out of 20,000 candidates, only 1,200 remained, and almost all of them were elite nobles. Just then, the group of nobles who provoked him earlier approaches to cause more trouble. Their leader tries to intimidate him, saying that next time, no one will show up to save him. But our MC remains with his arms crossed, not giving a single care about the noble's threat. The other guy says that if it weren't for the headmaster, he would have been kicked out a long time ago. In response, Lewis Carrill just smiles and calls the guy a total clown in front of everyone. The noble is shocked and absolutely furious at the insult he just heard from the commoner. With a mocking smile, Lewis Carrill says the Grand Master has much better judgment than they do. This infuriates the noble, who threatens to knock our MC down with a punch right in the face. But Lewis just smirks, not showing a single ounce of fear in the face of the threat. The guy's eye glows with rage, showing he's not messing around and is about to attack. He then lunges forward with everything he's got and throws a punch straight at our hero's face. Even with the punch coming, the boy remains calm and analyzes his opponent's movement. From there, he stops the noble's punch using just 2 fingers with ridiculous ease. In a swift motion, our MC counters and lands a precise strike on his opponent. The noble panics because his body simply won't move at all anymore. Lewis then reveals he used a martial arts technique to paralyze the guy's meridians. The impact of the blow sends the noble's body flying across the arena. His friends panic and scream for their buddy who was so easily defeated. The guy hits the arena floor hard, kicking up dust and scaring the other candidates. One of his friends is also knocked down by the force of the impact, while the other rushes to help. The noble lies on the ground in a lot of pain while his friend anxiously asks if he's okay. The noble on the ground complains desperately that he can't feel or even move his own arm. Because of this, he accuses our MC of using poison and yells that he's going to report him immediately. At that, Lewis Carrill walks closer and calmly explains that it wasn't poison but martial arts. He says he was holding back at his mother's request, but his patience has a limit. With a serious look, the young man states that only those prepared to take a hit can throw one. Suddenly, a hand grabs his wrist, stopping him from continuing the fight with the noble. It was Kane Aranka, who stops him and reminds him they're in the middle of an important exam. The hero then asks if our MC doesn't mind getting disqualified because of a fight. Lewis stares at Kane in silence, but his eyes are still burning with anger over the situation. The other nobles yell for Kane not to get involved and threaten to finish Lewis right then and there. But Kane glares at them and tells them to back off, because they know very well who they're talking to. Faced with the heir's threat, the nobles are furious but decide to drop the fight. And so, the group's leader turns and leaves with his friends, grumbling in anger. He thinks hatefully that it doesn't matter if they're commoners or nobles, they're all trash. Lewis watches the guys walk away and concludes that all nobles are the same, using their power to oppress others. With the fight over, Kane approaches and compliments our MC on his strength and courage. From there, the heir extends his hand and invites Lewis Carrill to form a team with him. Right after, a few girls show up and offer to join the nobles' team. Before long, a crowd of nobles surrounds Kane, all wanting a spot on his team. Other candidates comment that teaming up with the heir of the Aranka family is a guaranteed pass. But our MC just turns his head and completely ignores the guy's offer. Suddenly, a magic circle of light forms in the center of the large combat arena. Floating in the air, Headmaster Aronian congratulates everyone for passing the test of will. Right after, he announces that the next stage will finally be a test of power. At that, glowing marks appear on each candidate's chest, leaving everyone very confused. Kane is surprised to see that his mark is of the Earth attribute, just like several others. The hero of the Aranka family is completely shocked, not understanding what's happening. Suddenly, Kane's body and the others feel heavy, causing them to fall to the ground. A huge earth magic circle activates across the entire arena, trapping the candidates. Aronian then explains that they will fight under the influence of this magic for the second exam. The nobles complain about the Grandmaster's earth magic, finding it unbelievable that they have to fight like this. One of them points to Kane, who is walking normally in the middle of the arena, unaffected by the magic. The Aranka family heir struggles to stay on his feet, while the others have already fallen to the ground. Suddenly, Kane looks up, surprised by something that catches his attention in the middle of the arena. It was our MC running up the arena wall as if gravity didn't exist. The crowd is in shock seeing that the boy managed to reach the stage where the headmaster was. Aronian looks at Lewis Carrill and comments that he was the first one to reach the stage again. The candidates recognize the boy from the first test and feel the intense pressure coming from him. Kame can barely stand even with 3 years of master level training and finds the pressure just right. Aronian then announces that only the candidates still standing can participate in the next test. Immediately after, the Academy's headmaster uses his magic to create a bright light in the arena. An arsenal of weapons appears, and he says that anyone who wants one can choose one to use in combat. The weapons start spinning in the air and fly towards the candidates who are still on their feet. With incredible agility, our MC grabs several swords at once from the air. He chooses one sword and faces 2 nobles who warn him that anyone who leaves the stage is disqualified. From high up on the stage, Headmaster Aronian announces that the exam will finally begin. With a snap of his fingers, he gives a command for the imprisoned slimes to be released into the arena. In that instant, all the weapons the candidates were holding simply vanish into thin air. The guys are totally confused and wonder what these so-called imprisoned slimes are. But our MC senses something strange and quickly looks up, noticing the danger. Right after, several blue energy spheres start falling from the sky at high speed. The spheres hit the arena floor and scatter, leaving the candidates very confused. Little by little, the creatures reveal themselves to be slimes, and the guys realize this is the test. The rules appear, showing that blocking is worth 1 point, dodging is worth 2, and defeating is worth 5. Aronian then explains that the ranking will be based on points, and only the top 100 will advance. Our MC understands that the competition is going to be tough to make it into the passing group. From there, a giant slime starts shooting smaller blobs as if they were projectiles. Some candidates think the monsters are silly and believe it'll be super easy to defeat them. One of the nobles gets excited and already prepares to score his first easy 5 points. So, he runs with his sword in hand to attack the small blue creature. But suddenly, the creature gets a really angry look on its face and prepares to attack. From there, the slime shoots off like a cannonball toward the cocky candidate. The noble is completely shocked because he didn't expect the monster to be so fast. With that, his sword breaks and the hit lands squarely in the middle of his face. At the same time, another candidate screams in surprise as one of the slimes flies toward him. A moment later, the guy is hit hard and thrown far away by the force of the impact. The other examinees panic when they see the true strength of the small creatures. One of them yells for everyone to be careful because more slimes keep falling from the sky. As a result, several candidates are hit by the attacks and fall to the ground, defenseless. The arena turns into total chaos with the monsters attacking from all sides without stopping. While the fight goes on, the evaluators write down the score of each participant. A woman informs Aronian that the young masters of the Aranka and Durahan families are in the exam. Because of that, she believes a new point record could be broken this year. But another evaluator comments that there are also excellent commoners, like the boy he helped. Aronian smiles and says that Louis Kirill is interesting and might surprise everyone in the test. But the evaluator notices that for now, our MC is just watching the fight. He comments that the boy hasn't moved an inch since the test began. A candidate wonders what he's doing and thinks the slimes are just too fast. With that, they make fun of him, saying a commoner will be eliminated from the competition soon. Suddenly, a giant slime charges at super high speed toward our hero. The creature closes in quickly, ready to hit him head on with its attack. But our MC remains calm and faces the monster with a look of pure boredom. In a quick move, he dodges the attack, which hits another candidate who was behind him. The guys who underestimated him are left with their jaws on the floor, unable to believe he managed to dodge. Right after, another blue creature charges toward him to try and knock him down. But the boy dodges again, and the monster hits yet another one of the nobles who was nearby. With a focused look, our MC prepares to show off his true skill. From there, several slimes surround him and attack from all sides at the same time. The noble who mocked him smiles, certain that this time he can't escape. Faced with the danger, our MC simply closes his eyes and concentrates completely. At that moment, our MC remembers his training on a mountain of ice. His friends complained that throwing rocks at him was dangerous and that someone could get hurt. But Louis Kirill calms them down and says it's fine because he wanted to test a new skill. With that, the guys get ready and warn him that the attacks are heading his way. Right after, they throw several rocks at the same time to test their friend's reflexes. Louis remembers that in his past life he created a hypothesis about the human body. From there, he trained to speed up the transmission of information from the brain. This way, he could calculate trajectories and react instantly to any attack. With his eyes closed, he gathers all the data from the attacks that are rapidly approaching. Then, his mind calculates all possible evasion routes in a fraction of a second. And then, he moves with perfection and dodges every single rock without getting hit. His friend's jaws drop, completely shocked by the guy's skill. Our MC wipes the sweat from his brow, happy that his technique worked perfectly. The guys run up to him and ask how he did that, and if it was a new technique. He then explains that the skill is called void combat calculation, leaving them confused. He smirks and explains that the outcome of a battle is already decided before it even begins. From there, he states that his technique can predict the result of any combat. Back in the present, his eyes glow intensely as he activates his power to the max. His mind starts processing the information and calculates the exact trajectory of each monster. The calculations are done at a ridiculous speed, predicting every move the slimes make in the arena. With that, the 4 monsters surround him and attack from all sides at once. Our MC realizes that the slimes are fast but can only attack in a straight line, so all he has to do is calculate the ricochet angle and predict all of their paths. With his plan set, he starts moving with impressive agility around the arena. This way, the boy dodges the attacks with ease without being hit by any of them. With 4 dodges, he secures 8 points and prepares for the next phase of his plan. Right after, he grabs his sword and imbues it with a very bright blue energy. With the weapon in hand, our MC declares that now it's his turn to attack the monsters. He then uses his martial arts technique and launches a powerful sword slash at the slimes. Kane Aranka, who was watching from afar, is completely shocked by the scene he just saw. The evaluators are stunned and ask if he just read the slime's movements. The other one confirms it and says the boy's perception rivals that of a true fighter. Seeing this, Kane realizes he's a special kind of fighter and decides he needs to team up with him. Suddenly, our MC senses something strange approaching and turns his head to the side. It was another slime coming his way, and he gets ready to score a few more points. With that, he uses his technique and prepares a sword thrust to earn 5 points. But at the last second, another blade pierces the creature right in front of him, stealing his points. Louis Kirill gets furious and glares at the noble, asking if he stole his kill on purpose. Kane Aranka just smiles and confirms that he did, without showing a hint of shame. He then says he didn't steal from our hero and swings his sword quickly. With a precise move, the hair slices the creature perfectly in half with his blade. Meanwhile, the other candidates continue to fight desperately to score some points. The noble then points to the other fighters and says he actually stole their points. Right after, he introduces himself as Kane and invites the boy to steal points together. But our MC just stares at him with a bored expression, unimpressed by the proposal. Kane explains that he just wants a good rank and proposes a competition to see who can score more points. With a challenging look, he asks our MC to show him his full power already. Louis Kirill smiles confidently and accepts the noble's challenge without a shred of fear. From there, he grips his sword firmly and gets ready for the point competition. But the boy raises the stakes and says the loser has to do whatever the winner says. Seeing this, one of Sheet's archers gets furious watching the two of them team up in the arena. He then comments that with all the chaos, this is the perfect chance to take them both out. The noble who humiliated our MC earlier smiles wickedly, agreeing with the plan. Just then, a slime flies toward the archers, who get ready for the attack. A moment later, the group's leader gives the order, and they aim their bows at the two boys. Meanwhile, the two of them fight side by side, protecting each other from the slime attacks in the arena. Our MC blocks one of the monsters with his sword, shielding Chain from the attack. Suddenly, a shower of arrows flies toward them, catching the pair by surprise. The arrows hit the ground and cause a huge explosion that kicks up a lot of dust. Kane is completely shocked because Louis protected him and took the full force of the attack. The noble archer smiles wickedly and celebrates, cause he's sure he hit his target. But our MC just gives a little smirk, not showing any concern about the attack. Seeing this, the archer is completely shocked, not understanding what just happened. The dust clears, revealing Louis Kirill, who caught the arrows using just his bare hands. The nobles are floored and wonder how he managed to react so fast. Kane Aranka walks over and asks if he's okay, calling the guys trash for playing dirty. The leader of the archers gets furious at the insult and tells his men to aim for the hair. From there, he uses a technique and prepares a double arrow with a dark and powerful aura. With that, 2 arrows fly at high speed toward the hair of the Aranka family. Kane scoffs at the attack and uses his sword to deflect the arrows with extreme ease. But he doesn't notice that the arrow with the wicked aura was hidden right behind the other one. Suddenly, the hair senses the threat and turns around, startled by the real danger. A moment later, the sound of the attack echoes through the arena as blood flies everywhere. Kane is shocked because our MC jumped in front and stopped the arrow with his hand. Kane looks at the boy's injured hand, but Louis says that he's their real target anyway. The evaluators comment that the attack was malicious, and one of them suggests disqualifying the archers. But Aronian says there's no need, cause they're going to lose either way, and tells them to get some healing potions ready. Back in the arena, our MC turns and confirms if the noble's name is really Kane. With a smile, Louis Kirill holds his sword like a bat and asks if he's ever heard of baseball. Right after, one of the slimes flies toward them, and the boy gets ready to bat the creature away. From there, his mind calculates all the physics behind the swing to make the attack perfect. His eyes glow with blue energy as he focuses all his strength into the perfect hit. and so, he hits the creature with his sword using the baseball technique he created himself. The blue monster is launched with full force, looking like a real, powerful cannonball. The projectile flies straight toward the group of archers, who are terrified by what they see. With that, the slime slams right into the group's leader with completely crushing force. The impact is so strong that the noble is sent flying across the entire combat arena. Lying on the ground, number 438 is officially disqualified from the exam. Our MC celebrates that one's already down, while Kane finds the commoner's game pretty interesting. The other archers are desperate and furious, yelling for their friend who was defeated. One of the archers gets distracted and wonders where our MC went in the middle of the arena. Suddenly, Lewis Carroll appears in the air and uses another slime to attack the guy from above by surprise. He then yells that this is number 2 and smacks the creature with his sword, sending it down to the ground. Because of this, the blue monster smashes right into the face of the second archer in the group of nobles. From the impact, the guy is thrown backward with a pretty funny look of pure desperation on his face. A moment later, number 1439 is disqualified, and the last noble starts to panic. Our MC appears behind the last guy and warns him that now he's the only one left to finish the job. The noble then threatens him, saying the upperclassman won't let a simple commoner get this far. Just then, Kane Aranka sneaks up and simply sticks his foot out in front of the archer to trip him. The hero mocks him, telling him to be more careful as the guy falls flat on his face. With the fight settled, Kane thanks our hero and asks with concern if his hand is okay. Lewis Carroll shakes his hand and says everything's fine, and that he's pretty decent for a noble. Kane replies not to lump him in with the others and reveals he's from the Great Aranka family. The Great Families are powerful clans that have produced many grandmasters and sages for generations. As they fight side by side, our MC reflects that there are all kinds of nobles in the world. From a distance, other nobles are furious that a commoner is meddling in their competition. Because of this, they team up and shout that they won't let the pair score a single other point. Facing the threat, our MC and Kane look at each other with serious, determined expressions. A moment later, a gang of nobles runs toward them, screaming that commoners should just disappear. At the same time, other candidates realize Kane is the target and decide to help the hare. With that, a huge brawl kicks off, with Kane's supporters charging at the other nobles. The arena turns into total chaos, and our MC warns Kane to watch out for the attacks. From afar, a girl and a small mage watch the commotion, finding the whole thing very interesting. At that, the girl named Miliana runs into the fight to make the nobles regret it. Our MC realizes he's become the target for a lot of people, and that this is going to complicate things. Suddenly, several slimes appear out of nowhere, and he has to dodge the creature's attacks. Meanwhile, the little mage takes advantage of the confusion and trips one of the nobles. Right after, Miliana uses her weapon and launches a powerful blow that sends several guys flying. At the same time, a red-haired guy with a giant hammer smashes his opponents with a single swing. With a smile on his face, the guy laughs and says the brawl is awesome and a lot of fun. The red-haired guy comments that punching people is way more fun than it looks. He then adds that it's much better than just hitting slimes. From there, the guy swings his hammer with all his might, preparing an area of effect attack. With a battle cry, he warns everyone to get out of his way. His spinning strike hits several candidates and throws them far away with immense force. A moment later, he stops his attack and observes the enormous damage he caused in the arena. The ground is littered with fallen nobles after the powerful blow from the giant hammer. One of the evaluators asks Aronian if they shouldn't stop the massive brawl, but another evaluator is worried that all the nobles might end up getting disqualified. The headmaster says the place has its own rules, and that public opinion doesn't matter. Suddenly, a huge pillar of light appears in the middle of the arena, getting everyone's attention. Floating in the air, Aronian declares that the second exam has finally come to an end. He then announces that the results and the scores of those who passed will be revealed later. The earth magic disappears and several candidates collapse to the ground, completely exhausted from the test. The injured are instructed to drink healing potions to recover their energy and heal up. Our MC holds the healing potion and is impressed by the mysterious power it's giving off. He thinks that even the most basic potion costs 3 silver coins, and that's way too expensive for him. Kane comes over and tells him to relax, because he won't make fun of him even if he wins the bet they made. A moment later, Aronian announces that the results of the second exam will finally be revealed to everyone. A huge magic scroll appears in the air, and Kane asks what place our hero got. The nobles mock him because the commoner's name isn't on the list, which only shows up to 6th place. The voice explains that the top 5 broke records and announces Miliana Royce in 5th place. Next, 4th place is revealed to be Kane Aranka, who looks pretty serious. The third place winner is Faye Durahan, who smiles confidently at all the other candidates. Our MC gets tense and wonders if he was disqualified for attacking the nobles. But to everyone's surprise, second place is Louis Kirill with 887 points. Kane's jaw drops, and he asks confusedly who that guy is, since he doesn't know him. With a smile on his face, our MC says his identity is a secret for now. Kane then accepts his defeat and asks what the winner wants, but Louis says they'll talk after the exam. From there, the glorious first place is announced with a score never before seen at the Academy. In first place, with a record of 888 points, is Neil Gunn, the guy with the hammer. With a confident smile, he says there are some interesting people here, and hopes he won't be disappointed. The other nobles are shocked because 2 commoners took first and second, beating out the Durahan family. The little mage notices that Faye's hand is shaking, either from anger or maybe pure excitement. Faye then stares down the winner with a challenging look and says she'd love to fight him one day. Meanwhile, a group of nobles is annoyed for having lost to simple commoners in the competition. Their leader gets furious and calls the others a complete disgrace to all of nobility. The evaluators comment that it's the first time that commoners from an orphanage have taken the top 2 spots. Aronian then asks if they know the real reason why the Arcanist Association takes care of orphans. He explains that a person's true strength has nothing to do with their social class. With the end of the second exam, the headmaster tells all who passed to head to the location for the next test. Kane comments that Louis almost got first place and wonders which of the 2 commoners is stronger. The group arrives at the third training ground, a dense forest, for the final challenge of the selection. Suddenly, Aronian appears in the air and announces that the final exam will be an emblem battle royal. Right after, he explains that he will distribute the emblems and teleport everyone to a random location. The emblems float toward the candidates as Aronian explains that the goal is to grab as many as they can. With a serious look, he warns that anyone who loses their emblem will be disqualified on the spot. At that, Kane warns our MC that the highest-ranked candidates will be easy targets in the forest. Our MC understands that the rankings were announced specifically to create this hunting situation. The headmaster then smiles and tells everyone to show off their skills and survive until the end. Teleported into the forest, Louis is determined as his admission is just 1 step away. A moment later, a voice calls him a commoner, making our hero look back in surprise. It was a huge brute with an axe who accuses him of humiliating all the nobles during the exam. Unfazed, RMC stares the guy down with a cold look, not showing any fear. The nobles surround the boy and mock him, saying Kane isn't around to protect him anymore. With that, our hero looks around and realizes he's walked into a very well-planned ambush. To make matters worse, an archer aims a crossbow at him from the top of a hill. Our MC then figures out that his location was leaked by the teleportation team. Tired of talking, the brute charges forward with his axe to finish the boy off once and for all. The guy swings his axe with a powerful blow, but Louis Kirill dodges with incredible agility. 2 other nobles with spears attack our MC from behind, yelling that he won't escape. But Louis Kirill leaps over the spears, dodging the attack with ease. Suddenly, a green magic arrow whizzes past him, catching the boy by surprise. With a quick move, he twists in the air and manages to block the arrow with his sword. He then lands on the ground and wonders what that magic attack was that came out of nowhere. The brute yells at him to give up already, because he's going to meet his end right here in the forest. From there, the 4 nobles attack at the same time, but our hero defends himself masterfully. Right after, another magic arrow flies toward him in the middle of the battle's chaos. Our MC gets annoyed as he realizes the magic attack came again to mess with him. With that, he turns and blocks the arrow once more with his sword without any difficulty. One of the guys mocks him and reveals that the arrow was actually wind magic from his spear. He then charges forward and launches a direct attack with his spear to hit the boy. But our MC dodges again and the noble gets furious that he can't land a hit. The boy gets frustrated because his technique can't calculate the trajectory of magic attacks. So, he takes a deep breath and thinks of a new plan to deal with the situation. From there, he decides to use the sen-no-sen technique to counter-attack before the enemy even moves. With that in mind, he prepares to use his opponent's own power against them. One of the nobles gets impatient with the delay and yells for everyone to attack all at once. A moment later, the 3 guys charge full speed at our MC without hesitation. But our MC just smirks, as he was already expecting this combined attack from the nobles. He then moves forward at the perfect time to execute his counter-attack plan with great precision. The brute celebrates, thinking he finally managed to corner the boy with his powerful strike. But the axe just grazes him as our hero dodges underneath it with incredible agility. With his sword, he redirects the axe's path, using the hilt of his weapon as a lever. Because of this, the brute loses his balance and his axe flies toward one of his friends. The weapon slams right into one of the nobles while our MC kicks the other one with full force. The axe guy then falls on top of the archer while Lewis defends himself from the last noble. Suddenly, the noble with the spear climbs a tree and fires another wind magic arrow. Our MC realizes the guy is using his spear to create the magic attacks. In a swift motion, he uses the noble as a shield to block the approaching magic arrow. With the noble as a shield, the attack hits him dead on, and he grabs the spear that fell to the ground. From there, our MC grips the weapon firmly and aims at the noble up in the tree. With all his strength, he spins and throws the spear as if it were a real missile. The spear flies with full force and hits the tree dead on, knocking the noble down with the impact. Suddenly, a blue energy freezes the ground and pulls all the emblems toward him. With that, the fallen noble's emblems fly directly into our hero's hands. Our MC then catches the emblems and holds them tightly in his hand. With a victorious smile, he announces that he'll be taking all of that group's emblems. The group's leader gets up furious and tells the archer to use magic at full power. Suddenly, a voice asks if he was talking to him, and we see that it was Anicap. The archer who was in the tree falls hard to the ground, completely knocked out by the blow. Sitting on the branch, Cain mocks the noble and says he can't use his magic anymore. The group leader panics, unable to believe that Cain managed to escape the trap. Cain then reveals that he made the guys spill the plan and that they underestimated the Aranka family. With his plan ruined, the noble freaks out in anger and promises to finish them both right there. But suddenly, a crossbow bolt hits the noble dead on, taking him down for good. Cain lands next to Lewis, who complains about the noise but is relieved that he's okay. The hero says they were weak, and our MC offers him the emblems he took. Cain offers to help with future ambushes, but Lewis refuses, saying he'll handle it. Suddenly, Fade Durahan appears, clapping and praising our hero's attitude. With a challenging look, the girl approaches and demands that one of them fight her. Our MC recognizes her as Faye, the powerful daughter of a grandmaster. Lewis then asks if she's a friend of Cain's, but the hare angrily denies the accusation. He confesses that he's fought her before but lost because he let his guard down, and our hero makes fun of him. Cain suggests ignoring her since she's already an apprentice-level mage, and it's better to get emblems. Hearing this, Faye calls him a coward for wanting to run away, and this annoys our MC. With a smile, he accepts the fight, as he was curious to see how an elite noble fights. The girl gets excited and says she'll fight without magic to make the battle fairer. Right after, she uses her sacred spear and launches a powerful attack in their direction. Facing the danger, Lewis Curl's eyes glow with an intense blue light as he gets ready. With a swift movement, our MC blocks the spear's attack with his sword. Faye Durahan is surprised by this and compliments his skill, cause the boy is really good. Lewis Curl then grips her spear firmly and looks at her with a confident expression. From there, the noble tries to pull her weapon back, but he holds it with a ton of force. With a quick move, he uses her spear to throw her off balance in the middle of combat. But Faye regains her balance and charges forward, yelling for them to continue the battle. Right after, she leaps into the air and prepares another attack with her powerful, sacred spear. Her strike hits the ground hard and causes a huge explosion that kicks up a lot of dust. From afar, the evaluators watch the fight, impressed by the elite noble's power. One of them comments that her speed and power are perfect, as expected of a genius. But the other one doubts our MC will last long, since a commoner doesn't stand a chance. Just then, Aronian appears, and one of the guys asks who he thinks will win the fight. The headmaster admits he likes the kid but states that he can't defeat Faye. With a thoughtful look, he explains that the battle is a clash of bodies and also of wills. The dust settles, revealing that our MC took the brunt of the attack without any problems. Back in the fight, Faye charges with everything she's got and uses her sacred spear to attack our hero. From there, she unleashes a sequence of rapid strikes that the boy blocks with his sword. The noble gets annoyed because even with all her strength, Lewis Curl doesn't back down an inch. At that moment, our MC finds an opening and his eyes glow with an intense blue light. With absurd speed, he grabs the girl's spear before she can even react to the move. Using the leverage, he flips her over his body, completely turning the tables. Right after, the boy twists her wrist hard, making the noble drop her weapon to the ground. Disarmed, Faye is furious and glares at our MC with a look of pure hatred for the humiliation. But in a swift move, she grabs him and throws him over her shoulder, showing off her physical strength. Our MC lands with agility and throws a few metal discs toward his opponent. The girl is impressed and says that not even the hare Cain managed to dodge all of her strikes. With a smile, Lewis Curl replies that it's not that hard if she just pays closer attention. From there, Faye picks up her spear again and imbues it with flames, challenging the boy once more. Right after, she slams the weapon on the ground with full force, causing a powerful fire explosion in the arena. With that, the noble leaps and uses her sacred spear crescent fall to end the battle for good. Our MC analyzes the fight and thinks about the various techniques a spear can have. He then reflects that the combination of range and strikes makes the weapon pretty dangerous. But at the same time, he knows that the spear also has several fatal weaknesses to exploit. With that, Faye spins her weapon rapidly, creating a defensive barrier against the boy's advance. Our hero then realizes that her greatest vulnerability is close quarters combat, so he just needs to calculate the right timing to close the distance once and for all. With his plan set, he uses the sword dance and launches a powerful counter attack at the noble. Faye smiles confidently and says she already knows exactly what our hero's real plan is. A moment later, she dodges the attack and warns him that that tactic won't work on her. With a quick step, the noble uses the shaft of her spear as a support to change her position in mid-air. This way, she starts spinning with her weapon and creates a true whirlwind of power in the arena. Our MC is surprised because he didn't expect her to be able to counter-attack so quickly. The girl then yells that the sacred spear of the Durahan family has no weaknesses. From there, a powerful energy attack flies toward the boy with full force and no mercy. From a distance, the evaluators comment that the noble's talent surpasses that of a common apprentice. Facing the attack, our MC says it's a shame and prepares to use his swordsmanship. With that, he uses the sword net and creates a blue energy barrier to defend himself from the blow. The boy thinks that the spear's other weakness is its high energy consumption, and if he defends well, an opening will definitely appear, but his sword starts to crack under the pressure of the blow. Faye continues her powerful attack with a confident look, not backing down an inch in the battle. In that instant, Louis's eye glows as he concentrates and finally finds an opening. He then leaps into the middle of the attack and points his sword at the center of her spear. But with the impact, the tip of his sword simply shatters in the middle of the sword fight. Right after, the broken piece of the blade falls hard onto the dense forest floor. Our MC is surprised because he didn't expect his weapon to break so easily. Seeing this, Faye watches him with a serious expression, but also a little impressed by the fight. The girl then compliments the boy and asks if he was going to counter-attack if the sword hadn't broken. Louis confirms it and laments that his luck seems to be terrible at such an important moment for him. Faye then accuses him of holding back, but he says it's a habit to observe before fighting seriously. With a confident smile, our MC warns her that now he's going to fight with everything he's really got. Faye then comments that his weapon is already completely broken and is useless for fighting. With a quick move, our MC tosses aside what's left of his sword without a care. From there, he gets into a fighting stance and reveals that he's actually much better with his fists. At that, the two stare each other down in silence, waiting for the perfect moment to attack their opponent. Suddenly, the noble finds an opening and prepares to launch her most powerful attack. With that, she stumps her foot hard on the ground and uses all the momentum to charge with her sacred spear. A moment later, the girl spins her body and launches a spinning attack with absurd force. But our MC remains still and prepares to take the hit head on without backing down. Kane yells desperately, warning him that he'll get hurt if he takes that blow head on. Unfazed, Louis Carroll brings his hands together and creates a powerful, glowing blue sphere of energy. From there, he shapes the energy and creates a spiral to mimic the movement of the noble's spear. This way, the boy charges forward and clashes his energy technique against Faye's powerful attack. With a battle cry, he uses all his strength to stop the girl's spinning blow. Kane and Faye are completely shocked, unable to believe what they're seeing right in front of them. Impossible because our MC managed to stop the sacred spear using only his bare hands. From afar, Headmaster Aronian and the other evaluators are left with their jaws on the floor from what they just saw. But Faye Durahan yells that the battle isn't over yet and prepares for a new powerful attack. With that, she kicks the ground and launches her sacred spear toward our MC. The noble then yells that if a single point of attack doesn't work, she'll try something else. From there, she lands on the ground and faces Louis Carroll with a look of pure determination. Our MC just watches the noble as she prepares for her next attack move. Suddenly, several images of Faye appear and surround the boy from all sides at the same time. Right after, all the copies of the girl charge forward with their spears glowing with flames. The combined attack from the images flies toward our hero to finish him off for good. But our MC just smirks, not showing a single bit of fear of the attack. With a taunt, he asks, "So what?" and several energy arms appear around him. From there, his energy arms move and grab all the spears that are approaching him. This way, he stops the attack of all the copies at the same time, creating a shockwave. Faye Durahan is completely shocked, unable to believe he managed to stop her attack. Aronian then realizes that he's stopping the spear's rotation with a very special technique. Aronian smiles and says he's never seen this technique before, and that our MC always surprises him. With a roar of anger, Louis Carroll uses all his strength and pushes Faye's spear far away. From there, the impact throws the noble backward while our hero prepares his counter-attack. But Faye manages to stop herself by digging the tip of her spear into the ground so she isn't thrown away. With rage in her eyes, she glares at the boy, unable to believe her technique was stopped again. Faye then holds the broken tip of her spear and asks what kind of weird technique that was. Our MC explains that it's a martial art designed to nullify the rotational force of her weapon. The girl is completely confused, not understanding a thing he just said about the fight. With no time to explain, he charges forward with everything he has to end the battle once and for all. The noble is caught off guard by our MC's sudden advance toward her. With incredible speed, he runs toward her to close the distance between them. His feet move with agility, showing that he has perfectly mastered martial arts. From there, he dodges one of her strikes, leaving an afterimage behind to confuse her a bit. Faye's attack hits the empty spot while our hero is already positioned right behind her. Using his speed, he creates several afterimages to leave the noble completely disoriented in combat. Kane is confused and wonders if what he's seeing is an optical illusion because he doesn't understand the movement. His movements look like a butterfly's, and he dodges the attacks with a surreal lightness. Faye gets furious because he's right in front of her, but she can't hit him at all. It was the butterfly step, a technique from a legendary boxer who had incredibly fast footwork. Because of its light and hard-to-read rhythm, his footwork was perfect for the situation. This technique was perfect for the situation, and he gets ready to finally attack the noble. From there, he lands a direct hit right in the center of the noble's chest with all his strength. The blow hits her dead on and sends her flying with the force of the impact, which kicks up dust. Kane's jaw drops, unable to believe he managed to send Faye flying like that. Headmaster Aronian watches the scene with a serious look, as he didn't expect that outcome. The evaluators comment that few can beat Faye without using magic and wonder if the boy is perhaps a true genius in hand-to-hand combat because of his skills. But Faye gets up and says it's not over yet, because she's from the Durahan family and she won't give up. Our MC looks at her with a serious expression, realizing she still has the strength to fight. Being from a great family, she prepares to use all her power and continue the battle. With a red aura, Faye yells that there's no way she's going to lose the battle that easily. Our MC is surprised because she ditched the spear to use martial arts. From there, the noble charges forward with everything she's got and tells him to get ready for her attack. Seeing the girls advance, Louis Kirill prepares to use the famous Wing Chun technique. He then uses the Paksal move to intercept her blow with a bright blue energy. But Faye shouts the name of her technique and uses her smashing fist with all her might. The two clash head-on, and the impact of the blow creates a huge wave of power in the forest. Our MC analyzes the impact and says her power is a lot like the one-inch punch. He compliments her technique, and Faye explains that the Durahan family doesn't just fight with spears. From there, the noble uses the third strike of her smashing fist and unleashes a flurry of punches. With a confident smile, our MC accepts the challenge and gets ready to use the art of boxing. And so, the two exchange a sequence of rapid blows in a battle of pure skill. His eyes shine with excitement because fighting a strong opponent was his life's dream. Completely lost in the fight, his heart beats with more and more power with every passing second. His eyes glow with an intense red light, showing his immense thirst for battle. With a terrifying smile and a demonic aura, our MC yells that they're going to have more fun. Faced with that, Faye gets confused and wonders what that strange energy he just released is. A demonic red aura appears behind him with a frightening and very powerful look. The noble is completely paralyzed with fear, and her body simply can't move anymore. With that, our MC stumps on her face, pinning her to the ground with ease. A moment later, he kicks her hard and sends her flying with the force of his powerful blow. From a distance, Headmaster Aronian is surprised and wonders what that energy he just felt was. The noble flies through the forest and crashes hard to the ground after being hit by the boy's kick. From the impact, she even hits a tree and falls to the ground, completely defeated and out of strength. Kane and another noble watch the scene from afar, completely shocked by the battle's outcome. The noble is furious because he can't believe a simple commoner managed to corner the powerful Faye. Suddenly, one of the nobles who was watching the fight starts to get a really bad headache. From there, the guy throws up, and his friend worriedly asks what's happening to him. Brian replies that he doesn't know, but he feels really sick and starts to tremble with fear of something. Just then, he feels the same sensation and realizes the cause is our MC's aura. The noble is ticked off because the plan failed, and he didn't think the commoner would be this strong. Meanwhile, Brian, who's already all beaten up, thinks that if the legend is true, they can't let our MC live no matter what, and the boy advances with his aura. Lying on the ground, Faye is shocked by the crushing pressure coming from the boy in front of her. From there, Louis Kirill charges at the fallen noble with absurd speed. With that, he lands a powerful punch right in the middle of her face, and she screams in pain from the impact. The blow sends her flying, making the girl tumble across the ground again. With a roar of rage, our MC unleashes all his power at once. A huge blast of red energy crashes down on the completely defenseless noble. Faye realizes that his power and speed are on another level and that there's no way to win. A giant energy fist descends with full force toward the girl to end the fight. At this rate, she realizes she's going to be completely wiped out by our hero's attack. But at the last second, Faye uses her martial arcanist technique with a magic circle. From there, she unleashes her powerful flame fist to defend against the final blow. The clash of the two attacks causes a gigantic fire explosion throughout the entire forest. With the explosion, Faye screams in pain as she's thrown far away with immense force by the attack. From there, she flies through the forest and breaks several trees with the force of the magic's impact. Our MC is also pushed back by the force of the explosion and skids across the ground. With wide eyes, he is shocked and thinks about what just happened in that moment. With his hands smoking, the boy gets up and finally understands what the power of real magic is. Kane runs over and asks if he's okay, but Louis Carril says he's fine and is worried about Faye. Suddenly, a voice announces that number 30,947 has lost their emblem. Just then, the noble appears with a smile and says that our MC is officially disqualified. Our MC looks down and sees his emblem slowly burning on his shirt. A moment later, the emblem burns up completely and turns to ash right in front of him. The noble tells him to get out of there, but Kane defends him, saying it was all just an accident. With a smile, the guy says the headmaster saw everything and that he shouldn't help a commoner cheat. He then grabs our MC and says he's interfering and that trash should just disappear. But lying on the ground and all hurt, Faye yells and asks him to wait a moment before doing anything. At that, the noble and Kane look back, completely surprised by her interruption. Our MC is surprised because he didn't expect her to be okay after the fight. Fuming with rage, Faye gets up and faces the boy, with a look of pure determination. The noble questions her, asking if she's trying to protect the commoner and get disqualified. Faye tells the guy to shut up and says she knows that our MC's emblem burned up. Kane is shocked because she apologized to Louis for using magic, and the boy says he was the one who freaked out. But the noble says it's okay, and that he won, because he made her use magic in the battle. The noble scoffs and asks if he can enroll even with only 4 emblems on him. With a swift move, the girl rips off a piece of her clothing with her own emblems. From there, she hands the emblems to our MC as a reward for his victory. With that, the boy now has 14 emblems in total, securing his spot at the academy. The noble explains that his emblem burned up after he beat her, and that should be a valid record. She then turns and gets Kane's attention with a wave of her hand and a smile on her face. With a serious look, the noble says she doesn't accept weak people passing while deserving ones fail. From there, she picks up her spear and kicks the weapon up into the air with a challenging look. With the weapon in hand, she asks what happens if the 10th place person has 14 emblems or more. Kane smiles and says it's a coincidence, because he was thinking the same thing as the noble. From there, the two of them take off running, and Faye says she needs to collect more emblems to pass the exam. Our MC watches them leave as one of the evaluators approaches from behind him. A moment later, the man informs him that he's been disqualified and will be escorted off the premises. As the boy is led away, the noble glares at him and thinks that this isn't really over yet. The guys comment that if he defeats Faye and others, he'll definitely pass, and one of them gets ticked off. With a wicked smile, the group's leader thinks it wouldn't be strange if a candidate ended up gone. At that, Brian encourages Sheath to do the job and hopes our hero isn't a weakling. At the same time, the strange feeling he caused makes everyone wonder about his identity. The evaluator says that martial arts are strong, but alone they can't match the power of magic. Standing before the academy, Louis Carril dreams of learning how to merge magic with his martial arts. By nightfall, he realizes his clothes are torn and worries about what he's going to tell his mom. He then thinks that if he tells the truth, she'll get worried and ask him a ton of questions. Suddenly, a cloaked man appears behind him and gets ready to attack him by surprise. A moment later, the assassin swings his blade with full force to hit the boy in one go. But our MC dodges with ease, and the guy's weapon flies far away with the movement. With glowing eyes, the assassin is shocked and asks how he noticed his presence. Louis Carril explains that the smell of blood is something he just can't hide. Right after, 2 other guys appear, and the leader scoffs at our MC's calmness. Surrounded by the assassins, he realizes the guys are skilled and he needs to fight with everything he's got. He then notices a 4th guy in a tree and senses that he's the most dangerous of the group by far. One of the assassins takes advantage of the distraction and charges with a very powerful spinning kick. The guy yells that if he looks away, his head will go flying from the force of the blow. Facing the danger, Louis Carril's eye glows with an intense blue light as he gets ready. With incredible speed, he dodges the blow and even catches the assassin's weapon in mid-air. From there, he imbues the blade with his energy and prepares for a precise counter-attack. With a swift move, our MC uses the weapon to knock the guy to the ground hard. A moment later, he dodges a kick from another assassin who tried to catch him by surprise. Without wasting any time, the boy throws the weapon, sending it spinning toward the other enemies in the forest. Seeing that, the group's leader confirms that the intel was right about his skills. Our MC is confused and wonders what kind of information they had on him. The leader admits his fighting rivals, that of an apprentice, but challenges him to fight against magic. From there, the three assassins fire their crossbows and launch magic arrows at him. Our MC is surprised but manages to block the magic attacks using his own arms. He then recognizes the wind arrows and gets ticked off, since he already had to deal with them before in the forest. Seeing this, the boy decides to use his breathing technique to turn the tables on the assassins. With that, he uses the key in his body to increase his physical strength and unlock his latent abilities. His eyes glow with blue energy as he explosively boosts his power and speed. The leader scoffs and calls his fighting useless as the guys fire more magic arrows. But our MC dodges the arrows that cross in mid-air with impressive speed. One of the guys is shocked by his speed and wonders where the boy went in the middle of the fight. Right after, our hero appears in the air and shatters one of their crossbows with a powerful stomp. The group's leader is completely shocked, unable to believe the speed of his counterattack. From there, he lands a powerful kick right on the leader's head, who screams in pain from the blow. Even with the other guys firing non-stop, he lands on the ground and continues the battle against them. With that, the assassin's leader furiously yells for his men to stop our MC. From there, one of the guys jumps into the air and launches a powerful kick to try and hit the boy, but our MC blocks the blow with his arm, creating a shockwave from the impact. From the force of the blow, he's pushed back and is surprised by the assassin's strength. A moment later, he skids across the ground and realizes the guy in front of him is no ordinary opponent. With a serious look, our MC prepares for the fight, cause the guy is really strong. The mysterious assassin then lands on the ground and stares the boy down with an air of superiority. Just then, the other guys surround him and prepare more magic arrows to attack him again. Surrounded on all sides, he's forced to defend against attacks coming from every direction. Several magic arrows hit him at the same time, showing how difficult the situation is. With the barrage of attacks, our MC finally falls to the ground, seemingly defeated. One of the guys with an axe approaches and comments that he finally went down and that shooting at him was tiring. He then wonders if the boy is really a commoner, because he was more trouble than a regular apprentice. But suddenly, our hero's eye glows with an intense blue light, staring down the assassin. With a swift move, he grabs the axe blade with his hand, stopping the final blow. The assassin screams in pain as our hero's hand squeezes the axe with absurd strength. From there, Louis Kuro uses the guy's momentum to slam the blade into his neck. With the move, he spins and throws the assassin's body into the other guys, knocking them down. The mysterious assassin is startled and wonders if the boy was just playing dead. Our MC then gets up and looks at the body of the henchman he just defeated. Seeing the scene, the mysterious assassin claps and compliments the young boy's skill. Louis Kuro asks if he doesn't care, but the guy says he couldn't care less what happens to trash. Angrily, our MC throws the axe with all his might at the masked assassin. But the guy is very clever and moves fast, creating several afterimages to confuse our hero. He then prepares a purple energy attack and says that, if it weren't for a certain person's orders, he would definitely want to make our MC his great and powerful disciple. A moment later, his powerful blow hits Louis Kuro dead on in the shoulder with full force. The impact of the attack is so strong that it creates a huge crater in the dense forest floor. With that, our hero is sent flying, screaming in pain and bleeding a lot from the wound. The assassin then appears in the air and prepares to deliver the final blow to the boy who is down. The assassin says his skill might surpass an apprentice's, but it's useless against him. With glowing eyes, he yells that our MC is nowhere near his level of power. From there, his attack hits the ground and causes a gigantic explosion that destroys everything. With a battle cry, the guy descends with full force, surrounded by a dark and powerful energy. A moment later, the dark energy rushes forward to finish our MC once and for all. Dust rises and covers everything after the masked assassin's powerful and devastating attack. The assassin then stares at the crater and is surprised by what he sees in the middle of the attack's smoke. It was our MC, who was still alive, and the guy wonders how he managed to survive. With his body glowing, the boy gets up and yells, there's no way he's gonna meet his end in that place. But the assassin scoffs and warns him that it's too late, because our hero's life ends right there. He then says that not even a goddess can save him and prepares his most powerful attack of all. Facing his end, Louis Kuro yells and uses his martial arcanist technique, the Celestial Hammer. The purple attack descends with full force to crush our hero, who is down in the crater on the ground. With a face full of rage, he yells that he can't meet his end in that place again, no matter what. From there, he remembers that he wants to master magic to protect his precious and beloved family. With his eye glowing red, he decides he will change his fate, no matter the price. He then unleashes a red aura and yells that he will survive no matter what. His red energy then clashes with the assassin's purple hammer in a massive impact. The assassin is completely shocked because he didn't expect that counter attack from the boy. A moment later, an explosion of golden light destroys the forest with absurd force. The fiery explosion rises to the sky and lights up the entire night with its intense and bright glow. Lying on the ground, our MC coughs a lot because he used all his energy in the final attack. The assassin finds it strange because his hammer is still smoking after the clash of powers. He then feels like he's fighting an equal opponent for the first time. With that, the guy finally understands the reason why that person is after our hero. He then raises his hammer and yells that the monster needs to be finished right there, once and for all. Suddenly, a voice says, "That's enough," and a wave of green energy slams right into the assassin. The green energy spins and throws the guy far away with completely crushing force. A moment later, the energy transforms into several green dragons that fly through the forest. The assassin is terrified and wonders what that powerful dragon magic is. A huge green energy dragon forms in the air with completely overwhelming power. From there, the assassin is hit by several beams of light and screams in pain from the attack. Lying on the ground, our MC is confused because he doesn't understand what those lights are. A moment later, Headmaster Aronian appears, floating in the air with an aura of power around him. With wide eyes, Lewis Carroll wonders what the Academy's headmaster is doing there. With a smile, Aronian says he suppressed the rage and tells him to drink a magic potion. Our MC then takes the potion and chugs it down to recover from the battle. Meanwhile, the assassin is slammed hard to the ground by the force of the headmaster's magic. With a furious look, Aronian asks who gave the order to attack one of his examinees. Lying on the ground, the guy calls him Grandmaster and tells him not to protect that monster. Hearing this, the headmaster glares at him with a dark and completely terrifying look. But the assassin smiles and says that this is just the beginning of a much bigger plan. From there, the guy's body simply explodes, sending his remains flying everywhere. Aronian wonders if it was a self-destruct move and if the Assassin's Guild was involved in this. As our hero gets up, he's impressed because that was an advanced healing potion. The potion is so strong that even his broken bones heal instantly, getting him back on his feet. Our MC then faces Aronian and asks if he wasn't just passing by randomly. With a serious look, he questions why the headmaster always shows up to save him at the worst moments. Aronian replies that they'll discuss the matter at his house, leaving the boy completely surprised. Suddenly, Lewis Carroll panics as he remembers his mom must be very worried about him being so late. Because of this, he takes off running at high speed through the forest, leaving the headmaster behind without a second thought. Watching the boy leave, Aronian summons a shadowy creature and tells it to clean up the whole mess from the battle. The creature then obeys and starts to clean up the crater and the remains of the assassins that were left at the scene. The scene changes to the city of Mantia, where two guys are threatening Luciella in front of the orphanage. They accuse the woman of ripping people off with taxes, and she says she was just waiting for the kids. The guy calls her a liar and grabs her by the wrist, saying she needs a lesson right now. But suddenly, a fist smashes right into the guy's face, catching him completely by surprise. It was our MC, who arrives with a flying kick and sends the attacker flying with all his strength. Luciella is shocked to see Lewis there as the guy falls to the ground, completely defeated by the blow. With her hands over her mouth, she is completely terrified by the scene she just witnessed there. Our MC runs to his mother and worriedly asks if she's okay amidst the chaos. But Luciella holds his face and notices that his clothes are torn and covered in blood. He tries to calm her down and says he just got caught on a tree during the Magic Academy exam. Just then, the other guy gets up, furious, and accuses him of breaking the rules and defying the local lord. With that, Luciella gets scared, and the bully threatens to report our MC to the lord. Suddenly, Aronian descends from the sky and says there seems to be a big misunderstanding there. From there, he lands next to Lewis and introduces himself as the headmaster of the Candria Academy. The guys are terrified because they realize he's a grandmaster since he can fly like that. With a dark look, the headmaster tells them to give their regards to their lord and get lost. Completely scared, the two of them bow and assure him they'll leave everything to the grandmaster. Aronian then turns to Luciella and says he needs to discuss an important matter with her about the boy. With that, the three of them go inside the orphanage, and the woman invites the headmaster to sit near the fireplace. Aronian then notices the millstone and wonders if it's the same one the nobles mentioned before. Looking more closely, he realizes that the stone's mechanism is everywhere in that house. Just then, our MC fiddles with a panel on the wall, revealing it's part of the same mechanism. Luciella serves some fruit and explains that our MC invented all of that to make their lives easier. From there, she asks if he caused any trouble, but Aronian says the boy's results were incredible. The headmaster then reflects that he had only seen talent like that in the ancient scripture of Gaia. He then remembers when humanity was ruled by monsters, and a genius emerged to fight. Guided by the goddess, the young man created the arcanist martial arts and, along with his friends, fought against the monsters. With that, they won the war, and the day became known as Liberation Day, and the calendar began. In the scripture of Gaia, the name of that great warrior was known by all as the first hero. Lucilla calls him a savior, but our MC says that in popular legends, this hero doesn't exist. Aronian then explains that in the legends, the hero appears in a very different way from the original. Right after, he reveals that the hero had black hair and black eyes, leaving the two of them shocked by the revelation. With a serious look, the headmaster says this is a big secret known only to humanity's elite. He then tells them that the hero saved everyone, but a madness was growing inside his heart. Because of this, sometimes he couldn't tell allies from enemies and ended up attacking everyone. And so, his existence was completely erased from history, so that no one would know the truth. Aronian finishes by saying that this inner madness was like a curse that slowly consumed him. Our MC stares at his hand and wonders if the inner madness came from that time he went wild in the fight. Aronian then explains that's why in every country, when they find someone with black hair and eyes, they eliminate them. From there, he touches the boy's head and asks if he thought he could fool everyone with dye. Lucilla panics and confesses that she was the one who told him to dye his hair, afraid something bad would happen. But our MC comforts her and tells her to calm down, that everything is fine and there's nothing to worry about. He then explains that if the headmaster wanted to take him out, he would have done it already, and there's a reason he's there. With a smile, Aronian praises the boy because he not only resisted the madness but also completely tamed it. Hearing this, the two are shocked, and the woman asks if he's talking about a new hero. The headmaster picks up an apple and explains that the world seems peaceful, but beneath the surface of everything, a great darkness is always lurking, and watching the boy fight today made him think of something important. With the fruit in his hand, he says that the legends are absurd and that the world needs a real new protector. Because of this, he wants to guide our MC in the right direction for the future of all humanity. A moment later, the Academy's headmaster throws the apple hard toward our MC. With a swift move, the boy catches the fruit in the air, staring at Aronian with a very serious look on his face. Aronian then leaves and reveals that thanks to Faye's and Kane's efforts, he managed to pass the exam. The headmaster then extends his hand and invites him to receive his personal instruction at the Kandria Academy. Our MC smiles and asks if he's betting on him, and what happens if one day he completely loses it. At the question, Aronian's eye glows with an intense purple light, showing his seriousness. Suddenly, the headmaster catches the apple that our hero tossed in the air, catching the boy by surprise. With a cold look, he warns him that if that ever happens, he himself will finish the boy off. The next day, a friend from the orphanage is shocked to hear about the invitation, but Louis says it wasn't just because of that. Our MC then scratches his head, worried about the Academy's costs like tuition and uniforms. From there, he reflects on his connection to the legendary hero and the so-called inner madness he has. He then remembers when Aronian revealed that he knew about the hair dye he was using, and also the promise that he would take him out if he lost control, making him doubt his trust. Louis then asks why he let his mother hear everything, and the headmaster says she would be a burden. Hearing this, our MC gets furious and yells at Aronian that his mother is not a burden. The headmaster explains that when his identity is exposed, his family will be in danger, and she needs to know. Right after, Aronian flies off and warns him to get stronger, because the real tests have only just begun. Our MC then looks at the academy and agrees that he needs to get stronger for what's coming. Suddenly, the orphanage kids run toward him, happily shouting our MC's name. With a smile, a little girl named Lana jumps into his arms for a big hug. With tears in her eyes, she asks if he's coming back home, because she doesn't want to say goodbye to him. Our MC then comforts her and promises he'll come back during the holidays, because this is his real home. From there, the two make a pinky promise to seal the deal, so she won't be sad anymore. Just then, one of the boys announces that a noble's butler is looking for him at the orphanage. A moment later, a man in a fancy suit approaches and asks if he is indeed Louis Kirill. He introduces himself as the butler of the Aranka family and hands the boy an invitation from the young Master Kane. Our MC reads the letter and finds out that Kane wants to deepen their friendship before school starts. With that, he accepts the invitation, and the butler guides him to the luxurious carriage that was waiting for him. The carriage then travels through the large and prosperous city of Harzan, located in the Kandria Empire. He finds out that the Aranka family is very important, and that the whole city prospered because of them. Standing before the enormous mansion, our MC's jaw drops as he's never seen anything so big in his life. Suddenly, Kane runs toward him and greets him with a very cheerful smile on his face. Kane then hugs him and comments that he heard he caused a huge scene in the final exam. Our MC says he only passed because of them and that he'll forget the bet, but Kane disagrees. The noble comments that they couldn't fight in the exam, and that's why he wants the boy to be his opponent before classes start. Louis Kirill smiles, realizing the heir wants to learn more about the academy and magic with him. Suddenly, a mysterious voice asks about all the commotion, getting both their attention. It was Kane's mother, who glares at the boy with a look of contempt and asks who that person is. The hero tries to introduce our MC as his friend, but the woman doesn't like the idea one bit. With a shout of silence, she interrupts him with a furious glare, showing all her authority. From there, she scolds him for his friendships and asks when their house became a place for just anyone. She says our hero is not worthy of being his friend and that associating with the boy is a waste of time. With that, the noble tells Cain to just train as his father ordered and become a great sage. A moment later, she approaches Louis Kirill with an air of superiority and glares at him up close. With a threatening look, she asks what his purpose is in getting close to her son, whether it's for money or power. The noble then offers a gold ring and says that with it, he can live his whole life if he just leaves. Not caring about anything, the woman simply throws the gold ring on the ground in front of the boy. With a look of disgust, she tells our MC to pick up the ring and leave her house forever. Cain gets furious and yells at his mom, asking why she would do something like that. A moment later, the hare turns to Louis Kirill and apologizes for his mother's attitude. Our MC kneels down and says he became his friend because he recognized his true potential. With that, he picks up the ring from the floor and asks if Cain's word is worth so little to her. The hare is touched by his friend's action and watches him with a look of pure concern. Faced with the defiance, the noble gets completely furious and calls her guards to handle the situation. With a roar of rage, she orders her men to throw the commoner out of her house right now. Cain steps in front and tries to stop the guards, saying the boy is more talented than him, even beat Faye. The noble scoffs and says she doesn't believe those lies because a commoner could never surpass the great families. But our MC states that with him around, the hare can become even stronger in the future. The woman freaks out in anger and yells that a commoner can't be so arrogant and mock the rank of family. From there, the guards grab them both and start violently dragging them out of the mansion. Suddenly, an imposing man appears at the mansion's door, getting everyone's attention. With a serious look, the man repeats the sentence our MC said about Cain getting stronger. At that, the three of them turn around, completely shocked by the man's unexpected arrival. The guards bow and call the man Master, showing him great respect. Cain's mother gets nervous and calls him William, with a look of pure worry on her face. Kneeling, she says that if Cain keeps this up, he'll never be able to catch up to him in the future. The man simply walks past her, not caring about what the woman was saying. Before the imposing figure, Cain bows and calls him Father with a look of respect. Our MC introduces himself and senses a powerful aura coming from Grandmaster Aranka. William then asks if what the boy said is true, and Cain confirms that his skill surpasses his own. With a tiger's aura, he tells our hero to prove his worth and shows off all his power. Our MC is shocked by the killing intent he feels coming from the man in front of him. From there, a huge red energy creature charges full speed toward him. The attack hits him head on, and he screams that he can't breathe with so much pressure on his body. In a lot of pain, he realizes that the man in front of him is really strong and dangerous. William's eyes glow with red energy, showing all his immense power. Our MC then realizes the guy is serious and actually intends to take him out. With a look of pure malice, the Grandmaster prepares to finish the boy right then and there. Facing the danger, our MC's eyes glow with an intense blue light as he gets ready. He feels a terrible force of will, as if his soul is being ripped from his body. But he compliments the Grandmaster's power and prepares to counter the attack with everything he's got. From there, he reveals that hunting monsters has made him resistant to this kind of power. With that, our hero unleashes all his energy in a huge explosion of golden flames. His golden aura expands with full force throughout the room, impressing the two nobles watching him. William Aranka is completely shocked because he didn't expect that reaction from the boy. A moment later, a fire dragon aura appears behind our MC for the fight. The boy's eye glows with a red light, showing his immense determination in the battle. And so, his dragon aura charges forward to clash with William's powerful tiger. The clash of the two auras causes a gigantic power explosion throughout the entire mansion. Cain yells Louis's name, completely worried about the situation that's unfolding. Dust rises and covers everything after the powerful and devastating clash of energies. Lying on the ground, our MC is stared down by the Grandmaster, who observes him seriously. A moment later, Cain runs to help him and worriedly asks if he's okay after the fight. William Aranka then asks our MC why he seeks strength so much. Louis Kirill firmly replies that his only goal is to protect his beloved family. Hearing the answer, the Grandmaster seems to reflect on the young boy's words. With that, he turns to Cain and says his willpower is weak, and that he should learn from the boy. The here's mother is shocked and asks what William is thinking by saying that. The Grandmaster glares at her with a cold look and asks if she has any objection to his decision. The noble gets scared and backs down, unable to say another word to her husband. From there, Cain invites our MC to the training ground for them to fight. Arriving at the location, the hare apologizes for his parents' behavior earlier. Our MC says it's okay but comments that his father is a bit extreme. Cain then reveals that his father only cares about merit, and that Louis would be a better son than him. With a smile, the boy says the Grandmaster was just testing his skill because of him. Kane looks at the sky and reflects on the word, love, which has never been a part of his life. A moment later, he remembers that since he was little, he barely ever left the house for anything. His only childhood memories are of eating, sleeping, and training non-stop, every single day. He remembers that his father's greatest wish was for him to become a great sage, like his grandfather. Because of this, he just swung his sword without even understanding the reason for fighting so hard. Deep down, he just wanted his father to acknowledge him and praise him for all his effort. His home felt like a prison, and he felt like he needed permission even to breathe. The adults praised him, but to him his status and talent were just heavy chains. And the tighter the chains got, the more he longed for the world outside. He dreamed of being free to sing like a bard or fly like a bird across the sky. His greatest wish was to be able to fly freely across the entire continent without any ties. But he knew that in their world, only strength mattered, and he was still very weak. Our MC listens to his friend's story with a very serious and focused expression. Kane explains that he didn't want to be strong, but swinging his sword was the only way to break the chains that held him and finally achieve his long-awaited freedom. He says his father graduated from the academy, and that's why he's also going to enroll there and get strong. That way, he hopes to get permission to live his life the way he's always dreamed of. With a smile, the noble says he's counting on our MC to help him on this journey. With a smile, our MC accepts the challenge and gets into a combat stance. From there, the two start to fight with everything they've got while William Aranka watches from a distance. A moment later, a man approaches, and the Grandmaster asks for the investigation results. The butler reveals that our hero used mysterious combat techniques throughout the entire exam. He not only broke old records but also defeated the powerful Fae, who used magic. On top of that, Headmaster Aronian protected him from the Assassins' Guild the night before the attack. With this, William realizes that the boy seems to be a real troublemaker. Hearing this, the butler asks why he allowed contact with the young Master Kane. William explains that danger makes people grow and surpass their own limits. As they talk, the battle between the two young men becomes more and more intense and balanced. The Grandmaster then reflects that maybe our MC can indeed make his son stronger. Kane then uses his wind technique and prepares to launch a powerful attack on his friend. With a smile, our hero accepts the challenge and yells for the noble to come at him with full force. William smiles and thinks that his son has a better eye for people than he does. From there, Kane uses his martial arcanist technique and unleashes the wind rush with everything he's got. Facing the attack, Lewis Carroll's eye glows with an intense blue light as he gets ready. With that, Kane is shocked because his fist was stopped with incredible ease by the boy. Our MC then blocks the blow with his arm and stops the hair's advance in mid-air. From there, he explains that using magic is good, but his movements are too linear. Kane smiles and finally understands why not even the powerful Fae could defeat him. Our MC looks thoughtful and asks if there's something on his face for his friend. The hare then asks if he's never felt anything strange about his fighting style. Kane is confused and says they are the secret arts of the Aranka family that his father and grandfather used. With a serious look, our MC says that what he means is that there's another path. The hare is shocked because he never thought of a different path from his father and grandfather. Lewis Carroll then grabs a sword from the arsenal and prepares to show him what he means. With a smile, he asks if Kane doesn't want to surprise his father with a new skill. From a distance, Grandmaster William Aranka watches the two boys training together on the field. He seems curious about what our MC is trying to teach his son. From there, the two leap into the air and begin a new type of training with daggers. With a dagger in hand, our MC clarifies that speed is the ultimate weapon in martial arts. He says speed isn't just about moving fast, but also about reacting and making decisions at the right time. Lewis Carroll continues, commenting that Kane's natural speed is astonishing and needs to be used well. From there, he clarifies that this speed pairs well with wind magic, but piercing techniques are difficult. With this, he suggests that this difficulty might have been the reason his father stopped at the Grand Master level. To optimize his talent, the boy warns that Kane will need to switch to a specialized combat style. Our MC then picks up two daggers and asks if the hare is ready for this change. Kane smiles and says not to compare him to other nobles, because he'll do anything to be free. Hearing the response, the boy praises his attitude and says the secret is to move in and out when necessary. With a determined look, the two agree to show William their skill and determination. From there, the two young men leap into the air and charge with everything they have toward the powerful Grandmaster. Kane then uses his wind magic and yells for them to speed up and increase the attack's velocity. And so, the two descend with full force, looking like a real green comet heading for the Grandmaster. Seeing this, the butler gets scared and yells for his master, but William stops him with a hand gesture. With that, the hare flies past his father, showing off his new and incredible skill with the daggers. A moment later, our MC also flies past the Grandmaster with his daggers in hand. He explains that daggers are the fastest and most maneuverable weapons that exist in combat. With a focused look, our hero says they need to squeeze every advantage out of them to the limit. From there, he uses the butterfly step to overcome the opponent's reaction speed. William Aranka is surprised by the boy's technique and watches the demonstration attentively. This way, he moves like a butterfly and attacks the Grandmaster from multiple angles at the same time. At the same time, Kane uses his wind magic to create several copies and move across the battlefield. With that, the two attack together from the air, combining their skills to impress the Grandmaster. Kane feels light and realizes that his body and the daggers move as if they were one. With this new sensation, he feels like a bird, finally free to fly through the skies. He loves the fusion of his combat techniques with the powerful wind magic he commands. From there, a green aura envelopes his dagger as he prepares to show off his new power. From a distance, William Aranka watches everything with a serious and very impressed look. His eyes widen because he didn't expect to see such rapid development in his son. With a battle cry, the hare declares that this is his new and true martial path. Seeing the scene, William Aranka doesn't seem the least bit impressed by the boy's demonstration. Suddenly, he unleashes a red energy that throws both young men far away with great force. With that, the Grandmaster calls them knave for abandoning the clan's techniques to prove something. Even with the impact, the two are thrown back, but are already preparing for the next attack. Our MC then yells for Kane to speed up, and the hare agrees with the plan instantly. From there, Kane uses his wind magic to accelerate with our hero right behind him at full speed. The two then cross paths and create a powerful X-shaped energy attack toward him. Facing the attack, the Grandmaster looks at the boys with a very serious expression on his face. Surrounded by a green energy, they continue the attack from various different angles without stopping. At that moment, William Aranka's eye glows with a red light, showing that he's gonna fight seriously. With a red energy hand, he asks if that's really all they can do. A moment later, his energy hand lunges forward to try and grab Kane's dagger in mid-air, but the hare is much faster and manages to dodge the attack at the last second of the battle. With the dodge, William Aranka has a look of pure hatred for having missed his sure-fire attack. He then glares at the boy from above and calls him a coward for dodging his powerful blow. Our MC explains that retreating isn't weakness, and Kane understands it's to prepare the next blow. With that, Kane's foot glows with wind energy as he prepares to charge again. From there, the retreat connects to the next attack, and the hare flies toward his father. Kane then uses his wind magic and creates a tornado to attack the Grandmaster with everything he's got. A moment later, our MC joins him and the two run side by side on the field. Facing the combined attack, William Aranka is surprised by the two boys' tactic. With a battle cry, the duo leaps into the air for a final and powerful attack against the Grandmaster. After the fight, our hero talks about a baseball technique called a changeup, leaving Kane confused. His eyes glow intensely as he prepares to show the technique in practice for his friend. With a yell, he charges and attacks the hare with his dagger so he can understand the concept. Kane reacts in time and manages to block his friend's blow with his own combat weapon. The two stand still with their daggers crossed as the training continues between them. He then explains that the technique is used to trick opponents by using variations in speed. With this, even casual movements become feints, and if the enemy's reaction is delayed by a second, it's possible to crush them by maximizing the dagger's strength with attack speed. William Aranka moves with agility, easily dodging the two boys' attacks. Kane then charges with his dagger and launches a direct strike at his father with everything he's got. But the Grandmaster scoffs and says that such a slow attack means nothing to him. With a cold look, he analyzes his son's movement without showing any difficulty in defending. Kane uses the momentum and leaps over his father to continue the combined attack with his friend. From above, the hare prepares for the next phase of the plan he came up with alongside our MC. The two smile confidently and prepare for the real attack they planned together. With a battle cry, they charge forward to attack the Grandmaster from both sides at the same time. Facing the attack, the man simply says, "That's enough," and decides to stop the training at once. The pair stops mid-motion, surprised by the powerful Grandmaster's sudden order. With his hands behind his back, William gets his son's attention with a very serious look on his face. Kane faces him, panting but still determined to show his father all of his new power. The Grandmaster then warns him never to disgrace the name of the powerful Aranka family. With a smile, Kane replies, "Wes, sir," and seems to have finally earned his father's respect. From there, William leaves with the butler while the boys watch the man from a distance. William reflects on the rapid strikes and feints with speed variations that the boys used. From there, he finds the new possibility of retreating to prepare the next blow interesting. He's surprised because he never imagined he could learn something new from two mere children. Our MC comments that it was a good chance to fight a Grandmaster, but that it's already over. Kane is super happy because his father acknowledged him for the first time and decides to give his friend a gift. A moment later he takes our MC to the enormous Aranka family library. Our MC's jaw drops at the number of books while Kane holds a box. The hare then hands him the gift and thanks him, because without him, he wouldn't have found his path so quickly. Our MC is surprised and speechless at his new friend's gesture of gratitude. The box is filled with books, a bag of money, and scrolls, leaving the boy in shock. Kane explains that there are rare magic books that will definitely help him a lot in his studies. Lewis sees that the curriculum is divided into magic and martial arts, and that everyone goes through a ritual. Kane then explains that it's a ritual to sense the elements through a statue of the goddess Gaia. From there, he reveals that even the great families have to pay 10 gold coins for the ritual. Our MC freaks out at the price, but the hare calms him down and says it's free at the academy. But Kane explains that expenses and books are expensive and asks him to accept the gift. From there, he hands over the box and asks if, with that, their promise is finally settled. Our MC agrees and thinks he needs to figure out a way to make money at the academy. Suddenly, he has a brilliant idea and decides to use the knowledge from his past life to make a profit. With that in mind, he asks Kane if the Aranka family has any connection to merchant guilds. Our MC acts mysterious and says it's a secret, but that he'll find out everything in due time. A week later, the day of the Kandria Academy entrance ceremony finally arrives. Already in his new uniform, our hero walks confidently through the school courtyard with a smile. Suddenly, a pink-haired girl behind him smells a different scent coming from the boy. She wonders if it's a new, expensive perfume and deduces that his parents must be important nobles. The girl, named Rose, introduces herself and congratulates our MC for getting into the academy. He accepts her help to get to know the place and also introduces himself as Louis Curil to the girl. Rose then tells him to follow her but thinks that she's never heard of the Curil family before in her life. As they walk, she starts to explain that for the past 2 years, the emperor has gotten very old. Because of this, the imperial hares are fighting with the nobles for power within the academy. Rose explains that thanks to Headmaster Aronian's efforts, the academy seems peaceful on the outside. But behind appearances, there's a fierce struggle for resources among the institution's students. She warns that if a student is targeted by someone and can't get enough credits, they can be expelled. With that, the girl gets closer to him with a very seductive look to try and find something out. She then asks which side of the fight he plans to join, and our MC is left speechless. Suddenly, a blonde-haired guy appears out of nowhere and interrupts their conversation in the courtyard. He recognizes our hero as the commoner who broke the record and introduces himself as Brian. Rose is shocked because she can't believe the boy is a commoner and says she smelled a different scent on him. From there, she gets close again and says he's being watched, so he should do his best. Upon learning he's a commoner, she loses interest and walks away, complaining that she wasted her time. Our MC just smiles and says it was a pleasure to meet her, despite her rudeness. Brian then turns to him and tells him not to mind that noble girl's attitude. He shakes the boy's hand and explains that the academy is a miniature version of the Empire. Suddenly, Kane comes running and calls out his friend's name in front of everyone. With that, Brian says goodbye and tells him to call him if he needs anything at the academy. Our MC stands still for a moment, watching Brian walk away across the courtyard. A moment later, Kane Aranka approaches him from behind with a very suspicious look. The hare asks what he was talking about with Brian, and Louis Curil replies it was just greetings. From there, Kane reveals that Brian is the Chancellor's son, but that the two of them are not close at all. Our MC then comments that at least the guy seems to be a decent and trustworthy person. Suddenly, Faye and Miliana appear, and Kane says he doesn't like people with weak wills like Brian. Miliana teases the hare and says that if he were as strong as Louis, Faye would definitely acknowledge him. At that, Faye thanks our hero for his help during the exam, but he says she passed on her own. With a punch in the air, the noble warns with a challenging look that next time, she will definitely win. But our MC ignores her, and she yells that if he wants attention, he should defeat her in a fight first. And so, Miliana drags Faye away to finish registering while the noble yells that he'll regret it. With the commotion over, Kane hands a large bag of coins to Louis, saying it's his share. Kane explains that the money came from following his instructions at the Berna Village Trading Company. Inside the place, our MC shows a tray of perfumes and reveals that this was his secret. The hare doubts that this will make any money, but Louis assures him to just try selling it and see the result. Kane is shocked at the price and says he'll give some to his mother while our hero smiles. From there, he asks his friend to keep the business a secret, and Kane agrees since he also profited. At the reception, a man hands our MC his credit card and wishes for him to become a master. A moment later, other nobles glare at him with disgust and comment that Sheath was expelled because of him. At that, Kane confirms that Sheath was expelled because they found out he hired the assassins to take him out. With a cold look, our MC finally understands who was behind the attack in the forest. The hare then warns him that Sheath has an older brother named Jess, and that he should be careful. Suddenly, Jess glares at the two of them with a look of pure hatred, showing that revenge is on its way. With a wicked smile, he tells his friends that the fun is just getting started for them. The scene then changes to the Academy's Great Hall, where the entrance ceremony will finally begin. On stage, Headmaster Aronian welcomes and congratulates everyone for overcoming the challenges. With that, he warns that this is just the beginning and that everyone must study to become powerful. From there, the headmaster announces that the next speaker is the freshman representative, Neil Gunn. Right after, the guy with the axe walks up the stage stairs completely barefoot and shirtless. With his back to the crowd, Neil holds his enormous axe and prepares for his speech. The students are shocked and wonder why the first-place student is shirtless and has an insane aura. Seeing this, the teachers are furious, and Headmaster Aronian can't believe that idiot's attitude. With his axe in hand, Neil yells for all the idiots present there to listen up to what he's about to say. From there, he reveals that his main goal is to defeat every single one of them until they all bow down. The nobles are outraged by the boy's audacity and call him a savage brute because of the threat. With that, the guy with the axe yells back and says that everyone there is nothing but a bunch of big, talking weaklings. Seeing the chaos, Aronian gets a stomachachi and already feels like quitting his job as headmaster. He then points his weapon forward and reveals that his main target is a very specific person in the audience. A moment later, he throws his giant axe with all his might toward our MC and his friends. The weapon hits the floor with full force and stops right in front of our hero and a startled Kane Aranka. The axe gets stuck in the hall's floor, breaking everything with the force of the violent impact. Our MC and his friend stare at the weapon stuck in the floor, not understanding the situation at all. Neil then stares at the boy from a distance and yells out the name Lewis Curl for everyone to hear loud and clear. From there, he leaps and balances on the handle of his axe to face our hero up close. With a challenging look, Neil stares down our MC and says the two of them are going to have a good fight. With a wicked smile and glowing eyes, he says the two of them are going to fight no matter what. Our MC just stares back at him with a serious look, not showing any emotion. Standing on his axe, Neil continues the challenge as the tension between the two boys rises. Kane steps in front of his friend and yells at him to stop, because the ceremony isn't over yet. With a frustrated look, our MC thinks that everyone there seems to be just like him. Neil then provokes Kane and asks if he's nothing but a big talker who's afraid to fight. With a look of pure rage, the hare prepares to respond to the boy's provocation. And so, he charges forward with everything and throws a punch straight at the axe guy's face. But Neil stops the blow with just one hand and with ridiculous ease in the middle of the hall. Our MC then grabs Kane's arm and tells him to calm down and not to fight. Neil scoffs and says he doesn't mind fighting both of them at the same time and calls them cowards. Suddenly, Brian approaches and says the two of them are the only talented commoners and should get along. With a serious look, he warns that if Neil keeps acting like this, he won't last long at the academy. But the guy with the axe tells him to get lost and says he's not interested in small fry. Brian is completely shocked by the insult and glares at him with a look of pure rage. The other nobles get annoyed and complain that commoners have no manners for talking to Brian like that. Kane then mocks Brian and says he embarrassed himself for nothing, since some people only learn by getting hit. With a wicked smile, Neil accepts the challenge and warns that he'll finish the boy off first. But a teacher appears and stops him from continuing the fight, reminding him that fights are forbidden there. He then explains that fights are only allowed in classes and tournaments, and anyone who breaks the rule is expelled. With an intimidating look, the man asks if he understood the academy's rules clearly. Neil starts laughing and says that getting expelled would be a big problem for his future plans. And so, he puts the axe on his shoulder and says the fight will have to wait. With an intense gaze, he warns Lewis Curl to just wait, because their fight is going to happen. Our MC just stares back at the brute, accepting the challenge without saying a word. From there, the teacher ends the ceremony and announces that classes start the next day. Our MC wonders why Neil picked a fight with him, and Kane blames Faye for the whole mess. Faye gets furious and punches Kane for calling her a musclehead and almost getting himself expelled. With that, she admits that it's partly her fault because she fought Neil during the final exam. The fight ended in a draw, but rumors said she lost to Lewis, and that's why Neil wants to fight him. With a smile, our MC says it's a good thing it didn't turn into a brawl, and Faye says she wouldn't have blamed him. From there, the trio decides to move on, leaving the chaos of the ceremony behind for good. Our hero then realizes that a lot of people already hate them because of what happened. A moment later, they arrive at the academy store to buy the necessary supplies for their classes. Luis Curl freaks out because he thinks everything is way too expensive, but the saleslady says that's not exactly the case. With a smile, she shows him a feather pillow that costs 30 silver coins and calls it a bargain. Then she grabs another pillow with magic herbs and says it costs only 5 gold coins. Kane then explains that this is the cheap side of the store, and that now he understands the importance of money. And so, our MC buys the cheapest starter kit for 100 silver coins. With the perfume money, he thinks it's a good thing he made a profit beforehand, and that he'll send the rest to the orphanage. He then realizes that potions are essential, and that he needs to find more ways to make money here. The girls say goodbye and mention they're heading to the dorms, because the awakening ritual is the next day. With money on his mind, our MC decides it's time to work hard to earn more. The scene then changes to the enormous and luxurious dormitory of the Candria Magic Academy. With his pillow on his back, our hero looks for room 60 and hopes he won't run into any trouble. Suddenly, he's startled by a noise and ends up dropping his pillow on the hallway floor. Our MC hears shouting coming from one of the doors and decides to go over there to see what's going on. In the room, a group of bullies surrounds a young man and threatens him, saying he better obey them right now. The cornered boy just stares at the guys in silence, not showing a single bit of fear in the face of the threat. With that, the group's leader gets furious at the boy's attitude and calls him a complete creep. From there, he grabs the boy by the collar and asks if he's looking to start a fight. Our MC then steps in and touches the bully's hand, releasing a very strange orange energy. With the energy, the guy screams in pain as his arm starts to get burned by an unknown power. Lewis Carroll reminds him that duels are forbidden and asks if he doesn't mind getting expelled from the academy. The guy's friends try to defend him, saying they didn't do anything, while our hero picks up his things. The bully yells that Lewis Carroll threw the first punch, and that now this is self-defense for him. With that, he throws a punch, but our MC easily blocks it using just one hand. In a swift move, he uses the momentum and lands a punch right in the face of another bully. The guy is sent flying by the force of the blow, leaving his friends completely shocked by the scene. With an innocent smile, our MC asks when exactly he hit someone there in the hallway. The guy who got punched gets furious and asks why he was attacked out of nowhere in the hallway. Our MC then releases the energy into the bully's leg and kicks him with a lot of force. The kick hits him dead on and sends him flying with the force of the impact, making him fall to the ground. The other bullies are totally confused and wonder what's really happening there. From there, he releases the energy into the guy's chest and makes him punch one of his own friends. With his body covered in energy, the bully is completely paralyzed and has no control over his actions. Our MC uses his power and makes him kick the other bullies, taking them down for good. Chaos breaks out, and the group of bullies starts fighting among themselves for no apparent reason. One of them gets punched in the nose, and the group's leader panics, trying to explain it wasn't him. With that, the guy points to our MC and yells that the whole mess is his fault. With a wicked smile, our hero tells him not to blame others and calls him an upperclassman. The bully realizes he was being controlled by the boy and calls him a monster because of his powers. Our MC gets a dark look in his eyes and asks what he meant by the word monster. Scared, the bully scoots backward and asks what the boy is going to do to them now. The boy who was saved thanks him for the help, and our MC realizes he's his roommate. Our MC then asks if he wants to just let the situation go and not do anything about it. With that, he warns that if the fight gets discovered, they'll all be in trouble and offers to go to the headmaster. The group's leader gets scared and tells his men to run, because the boy isn't normal. Our MC introduces himself as Louis and asks for his new roommate's name. The boy turns his back and just shows his name on the tag without saying a single word. With a curious look, our hero reads the name Cara Candace on his school uniform. From there, the boy simply goes into the room and closes the door in our MC's face. Alone in the hallway, our hero stands there for a moment, thinking about what just happened. He then smiles and thinks the guy is just really shy, and definitely the type who gets picked on. Our MC unpacks his things in the room and reflects that a lot happened on the first day. The scene then changes to the goddess's temple, where two people are fighting in a strange ritual. Two shadowy men with glowing eyes watch the fight from a distance with an air of mystery. The next day, the freshmen gather in the academy's grand temple for the awakening ritual. Our MC is impressed with the place and wonders if that's the goddess of their world. Standing before the statue, a professor announces that she is the great creator of all, the goddess Gaia. The professor explains that a long time ago, the goddess Gaia created a world where humans and monsters coexisted. But over time, the monsters began to use their overwhelming power, and dragons ruled the skies. Behemoths ruled the land, and krakens dominated the seas with their brutal and terrible power. Because of this, countless humans were wiped out in the chaos, and the goddess Gaia was filled with rage. She then gave her blessing to the humans who had no magic power so they could fight against the monsters. From there, they created the arcanist martial arts, and after harsh battles, they escaped annihilation. The professor says that now they will receive the goddess's blessing and awaken the true nature of the world. Our MC then realizes that even in the official legend, there's no mention of the first hero. With an annoyed look, he wonders why the first hero's existence was completely erased. Suddenly, the professor calls the attention of the two boys in the middle of the student crowd. He then guides them to one side of the temple where they must participate in the awakening ritual. The man leads them to an altar and warns that if they have talent, they'll be able to sense the elements. With a look of contempt, he adds that if they don't feel anything, they're just worthless junk. Our MC just stares at the professor with a serious expression, unfazed by the provocation. The man then yells that the academy has no need for junk and unleashes a purple energy at the two of them. With a shout, the professor tells everyone to sit down because the awakening ritual is about to begin. Our MC then glares at the man and wonders why that professor hates him so much. The professor explains that the four great elements, earth, fire, wind, and water, are the foundation of the world. With that, he tells everyone to sharpen their minds and reach for what they feel under the goddess's blessing. From there, the man begins a prayer and asks the goddess who dwells in the heavens to bless them. A moment later, the magic circles on the temple floor glow with an intense, colorful light. The symbols of the four elements begin to shine, responding to the call of the awakening ritual. In response to the prayer, the statue of the goddess Gaia reacts and shoots a huge beam of light through the temple. With glowing eyes, the statue releases a powerful divine energy throughout the great hall. The light gathers and forms a sphere with the four elements right in front of all the students. Some students are caught by surprise and thrown backward by the force of the released energy. Suddenly, the spiritual form of the goddess appears in a space filled with stars and colorful lights. One of the students is amazed and wonders if those lights are the elements he's heard so much about. From there, the fire element chooses one of the students while another awakens the power of water. Suddenly, a huge tornado of fire forms around Faye, showing off her immense power. In addition to fire, she also awakens the earth attribute, leaving the other students speechless. They wonder how a commoner can control magic with such ease and call her a genius. With her eyes glowing with power, Faye is happy and shouts that this is exactly what she was talking about. From there, her power explodes and creates a huge circle of fire that impresses everyone in the temple. Neil then looks at our MC and his friend, who are still sitting without awakening anything. With his arm covered in stone armor, he says that someone who can't even awaken can't possibly be his rival. With a fiery aura, he yells that elements, or whatever they are, will have to obey him. Kane then notices that no elements are gathering around his friend and gets worried. Our MC is confused because he can't feel anything and wonders why. He then wonders if it's because he's not originally from this world, and that's why he has no powers. But he remembers that he felt a strange power when he fought Kane on the training field. With his eyes closed, he feels his mind being suffocated by something strange and dark. A shadowy energy seems to be trapping him, preventing him from awakening his magic powers. Angrily, our MC says his will won't be controlled by that dark thing. At that moment, he remembers his past life where he was stuck in a wheelchair. With a roar of rage, our MC unleashes a blue energy and says his will is not going to break. From there, he explodes with all his power and releases a huge shockwave through the temple. The blue energy explosion spreads throughout the entire hall with completely overwhelming force. Suddenly, the goddess's image fades away and returns to being just an ordinary stone statue. Our MC opens his eyes and is surprised by what he sees in the elemental space around him. He sees the four colors of the elements and wonders if those are the powers he wanted so badly. The professor is shocked because he placed a magic circle to isolate him and doesn't understand how he escaped. Free from the barrier, our MC reaches out his hand to try and touch one of the glowing elements, but the light of the water element moves away from him, leaving him completely confused by the situation. With that, he wonders why he can feel the elements but can't touch them at all. Back in the temple, his body starts to move on its own, making strange poses on the hall floor. Our MC gets frustrated with the pain, and his friend Kara watches him with a look of concern. The professor scoffs and says he's gravely mistaken if he thinks escaping the isolation will do any good. He then reveals that he used a confinement circle to block the flow between the spirit and the elements. On top of that, he used a magic orb to weaken his connection to the elemental powers. The professor says he should blame himself for making so many enemies at the academy. With a wicked smile, he tells the boy to just sit there in despair until the end of the ritual. By nightfall in the academy courtyard, most of the students have already managed to awaken their powers. Neil and his friends mock the two boys who are still struggling to awaken anything. With his eyes closed, our MC concentrates as hard as he can to try and sense the elements. Suddenly, his friend Kara taps him on the shoulder, drawing his attention to something on the floor. Our hero is confused and asks what's wrong with the floor where they're sitting. Kara then reveals with a serious look that the floor where they are is actually a trap. Our MC gets angry as he realizes the professor is really trying to sabotage him. With a determined look, he gets into a fighting stance to break the trap once and for all. From there, he lands a powerful punch on the floor, which shatters from the force of the impact. Our MC is shocked because he didn't expect a trap to be hidden there. With the floor broken, a purple confinement circle is revealed to all the students. Car tells him to hurry and grab the item that's in the center of the magic circle. Our MC then thanks his friend for the help and picks up the magic orb from the floor. With the orb in his hand, our MC stares at the broken floor and wonders if that was just a coincidence. With a serious look, he starts to suspect that maybe it wasn't just a simple accident. From a distance, the professor watches the two of them leave, completely satisfied with his foiled sabotage. But our MC decides not to worry about it, because now the real trial by fire will finally begin. Free from the trap, he focuses again and feels the powerful energy of the elements around him. A moment later, the 4 elements start to fly at super high speed through the magical space. From there, all the lights merge and form a huge whirlwind around the boy in the temple. The other students are shocked and wonder what's going on, since it's just like Neil's power. Our MC then feels all the power of the elements flowing into his body at once.